Hey everybody, welcome back to the Dungeon Dive. Daniel here, and welcome to my continuing deep dive series into the depths of Shadows of Brimstone. And this is continuing the coverage, and I think concluding the coverage of the core sets. And what we're going to be taking a look at in this episode are some characters and some monsters. So the characters, we're going to take a more detailed look at one character from each of the core sets. So the character we're going to be taking a look at from the Forbidden Fortress is the Assassin. And so the other characters in the Forbidden Fortress are, of course, the Sorceress, the Samurai Warrior, and the Traveling Monk. One thing I really do like about Flying Frog Productions and Shadows of Brimstone is they do give you a choice to pick the gender of your character. I think picking the gender of your character is super important, and I've seen how important it is firsthand with my wife and her friend. Whenever we play these kinds of games, if they can play as female characters, they have a better time. People like to see themselves represented in games, and so it's always a good thing. Of course, you don't always get the, there is one sex that is like canon, so you will get that miniature with the game, and you will have to buy either the official Shadows of Brimstone, the alternate sex miniatures, or you could just find a proxy, which I have done before, and we will actually take a look at a really good one that I have. But the Assassin, I do not have her mini dipped yet. The Assassin mini, the canon version, is the female. And so this is her stats here. Now, the male and female, they are completely the same. The only thing that sometimes is different is they might have a different keyword or a different name, actually, a different name, not keyword. Like, for instance, the Saloon Girl, the male counterpart is a piano player. But you have the Assassin, you have their stats up here: agility, cunning, spirit, strength, lore, luck. Their initiative, highest initiative goes first. Whenever you play Shadows of Brimstone, everything you do is initiative order, including when you're doing combat. You just slot the enemies in that initiative order. So higher initiative is always a good thing to have in Shadows of Brimstone. Then you're going to get their basic combat stats down here. This is going to tell you what they need to hit to make certain attacks. So the Assassin, she hits on a 3-up, and for melee, and for range on a 4-up. Her base combat dice is 2, so she gets to roll 2d6 for her base melee attack. Range has to be done with a weapon. Then any melee weapons that you have that add combat, you'll use the higher total. And then her grit is 2. She has a health of 10 and a sanity of 10. So mental damage will go off of that. Physical damage will go off of that. And when she defends against health or against physical damage, she defends on 4-up, and she defends on 4-up against sanity damage. And then each of the classes will have a list of the starting items that they start with, and it will have a list of their innate abilities. So she begins the game as part of a certain ninja clan. She's nimble. She always gets a +1 to move, and she can move through other models. She is deadly. Her combat hits ignore armor an enemy has, and are also +1 damage when the target is the only enemy adjacent to you. So she wants to stealthily kill by bypassing armor and by picking off enemies that are alone. And she's also a silent fighter. She may not use guns. Once per turn, you may re-roll any number of your defense rolls just made. So let's take a look at her starting items. So each character, when you create a character, you're going to pick a class, and then each character is going to have 3 different starting abilities. You're going to choose one, and you will never be able to choose the other 2. So this is one way to just right out of the gate make an interesting and unique character. So you could have her take a smoke bomb. Once per turn, use 1 grit at any time, except during an enemy's activation, to immediately teleport up to 6 spaces, ignoring anything in those spaces during the move. If you end this teleport move at least 3 spaces from where you started, gain +2 combat until the end of the turn. That is really cool. Her another ability she can choose is she could be ruthless. Anytime you kill an enemy, you may heal 1 sanity damage. And she starts with a pair of Sai instead of the Ninjato. Or she could be the running assault. She would get another +1 move, and once per fight, she may ready an exhausted shuriken item. And she is actually going to, I believe she starts, yeah, she does start with shurikens. So her starting gear, the normal starting gear is going to be the Ninjato and the shuriken. And so this is going to have keywords here, stealth only. If ever you see an item with a red banner and a keyword, then that has to match the keywords on your character's class in order to be able to use that. Down here, it's going to give you a weight in anvils. Your characters can hold 5 plus their strength value in anvils of gear. And then these here are going to be upgrade slots. And so the Ninjato can be upgraded 1 time. This is a melee weapon. The shuriken are a ranged weapon. You're going to roll 2d6. You're going to have a range of 5. And maybe use at any time during your move, but not while adjacent to enemies. So the assassin really does want to be constantly moving around the battlefield, tossing shurikens, and getting those sneaky attacks. Then again, if she chooses to be ruthless, she will take the pair of Sai instead of the Ninjato. And once per turn, you may cancel 1 enemy combat hit against you, kind of like parrying with one of the Sai. That's really cool. And these are 2-handed weapons, so you're going to have 1 in each hand. And then finally for the assassin, she gets to choose to be from one of these unique ninja clans. And each one of these is going to give her a special bonus for the game, or for her character career, really. You'll get +1 lore and a little bit with that one of the Sobara Masters. You can be part of the Hidden Dragon for +1 luck and some extra grit stuff. You can be part of the Lotus Clan for a +1 spirit and then for healing. Or you could be part of the Okasa Brotherhood, which is +1 strength and a free attack once per adventure. So nice little balancing there, and you can make some unique assassin characters. Additionally, we're just going to take a quick look at her upgrade path so I can show you. We're not going to do this for the other characters, but I just wanted to show how the characters upgrade. So when you get a certain number of experience, you can level up. The first thing you do is you roll a 2d6, and every character has this kind of unique random upgrade chart, and they will get certain things depending on what they roll. Additionally, you can start working your way up one of the 4 upgrade chart paths here. Now you can mix and match, but you always have to start at level 1. So I think what is the highest level in Shadows of Brimstone? I forgot. I think it's 8. Where is that? I believe it's 8, if I remember correctly. Yeah, so level 8 is the highest level you can go. So you will never be able to max out more than 2 paths. You could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You're better off though working your way down a couple paths, at least to like the 3rd row or something. But there are some interesting upgrades for each of the characters, and I do believe that that is one area where some of the revised characters are different, is in their abilities as they upgrade. So that was the character from the Forbidden Fortress. Okay, so next we'll take a look at the character for the Swamps of Death. And one of the reasons why I like the Swamps of Death more than the City of the Ancients is because it comes with the Preacher, and I really like the Preacher. This is his upgrade card. So the Preacher did get, I think, kind of a buff in the revised editions. Not so much on the character cards, but in his or her cards. And in the abilities that they have. So here is the official mini for the Preacher. Again, this is my kind of a dipped using Minwax Poly Shade and a kind of antique white primer. Some of them turned out okay, others turned out pretty bad. Some of them turned out good. I don't mind it. At one point, I did have all of my Shadows of Brimstone minis done like this, but then more stuff came. I fell behind, got discouraged, and haven't done it since. But once the weather turns better, I'll probably go outside and finish up all of my Shadows of Brimstone minis, because it really doesn't take that long to do. You just do a quick primer, some kind of antique white color, and then just take a big sloppy brush and brush on your Minwax Poly Shade. I think I used the walnut on these. Now, one of the proxies I have for the female, for the nun, is this mini here, and I love her. She is awesome. Of course, she's not the like kind of sexy nun from the picture, but I prefer this kind of like big, burly, ass-kicking nun here. And she is a Reaper mini, I believe, as part of the Chronoscope line. And I have some other Reaper minis that I use. So I'm thinking of the next time I play, since I now have two Preacher cards, I am actually going to play a 2-hero party, and I'm going to play a husband and wife minister team. And we'll have to split the sermons between them, but I'm going to give her the shotgun and him the holy book, and they are going to be just like demon, ass-kicking, hell-destroying pair of minister Preacher heroes. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun. But they start with faith, and faith is a currency that the Preachers will have, that the holy characters have. They may not use guns innately, but one of the abilities allows you to have like a holy shotgun. And that is what I'm going to give to my nun here. Scourge of the Dead, +1 damage to all your attacks against undead enemies. They're not very good with range combat. They're not very good at combat at all. They don't have anything that's greater than a 50% to hit. They do have some good health, and they do have good sanity and good sanity defense. So the Preacher character, there are 3 starting abilities. This is what I was going to give to the nun. A redemptionist, that you may now use 2-handed guns only, so no pistols. Unfortunately, she is holding a pistol, but I'll just pretend that's a little sawed-off shotgun or something. And she gets her extra starting gear of the redemptionist shotgun. So the normal starting gear would be this holy book, which is going to give you +1 faith and combat, holy only. But then the redemptionist shotgun. So this is a new card. This is probably the best card I've seen from the revised edition stuff. Going to give you a +1 faith. It is only a range of 3 and a shot of 1, so it's not a very great weapon, but it uses a D8 on your to hit rolls. It crits on a 6, 7, or 8, and uses 2d6 for damage. This thing is pretty badass. And it can be upgraded 3 times. So I think she's going to have a lot of fun using that. The other character, the other Preacher, could be a missionary. Once per turn, when performing a blessing sermon, you may re-roll 1 of the casting dice. Or a firebrand. Once per turn, when performing a judgment sermon, you may re-roll 1 of the casting dice. So there are basically 2 different kinds of sermons. Sermons where you can bless people, In sermons, we are going to call down the holy fire of God and smite your enemies. So some cards in, or some keywords and rules will come with these little cards that tell you the rules. These little reference cards. That's the word I was trying to think of. Reference cards. So you do get a reference card with the preacher that's going to tell you how to cast their sermons and how to use your faith tokens. And then you have a stack of sermons here. You have a certain number of blessings and a certain number of judgments. The preacher always starts with faith healing, which is there for healing. And then these can also level up as you level up your character. You have intervention, holy speed, shield of light, cure, and revitalize. And then these are like the damage dealing spells. Judgment sermons. You're going to have weaken, righteous fury, shockwave, cleansing fire, and smite. So of course, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the nun with her redemptionist shotgun be the damage dealing, demon slaying powerhouse, and then I'm going to have her husband here be the healer and kind of the support character. And I am really looking forward to playing both of those characters in an upcoming batch of solo games. And then also, of course, in the Swamps of Death, you had the Lawman or the Lawwoman. Lawman. So this was, I believe, is this the, I'm not sure. No, this is not the mini. This is, I think, the Rancher. I can't remember exactly. But you can see I found this other Reaper mini that can be used for really for like a lawman female character or a rancher. I have 4 or 5 of these Reaper minis that I can use for the female character versions. The Rancher, and then the Indian Scout. I believe the Indian Scout was buffed just a little bit in the revisions to one of the least powerful characters in the game. And then finally, in the Cities of Ancient, you're going to have the Gunslinger, the U.S. Marshal, which I believe that's probably the U.S. Marshal there. So if you were playing a female Marshal, you could use that character there. The Bandito and the Saloon Girl. Again, the Saloon Girl, her male counterpart is the piano player, and their keyword is performer. So the kind of the focal character of this set is the Gunslinger, and that is his mini here. And his main thing he has this 6-shooter here that has a number of different. Oh, there's a faith tokens for your preacher, and the Gunslinger is going to have these bullet tokens, and there are a number of them, and each one is a special kind of powerful shot that you can take into an adventure and use when you need to. Of course, you can only hold 6 in your gun. You can use your gun as a regular gun, but then when you really need it, you can load in one of these super powerful shots and use that. So there is the Gunslinger stats. Range hits on a 3+, that's really good, but you don't really want to have your Gunslinger in melee. He only rolls 1 combat die for melee attack. So you want your Gunslinger out of range, just popping off enemies with that 3+. Really bad defense, 2 against pretty much both attacks. So he's not very good defense, but you can start really picking off enemies with the Gunslinger. Here's the information card on some of the bullets. I think there's one more bullet that was added, but I can't remember. You have a Ricochet shot, Hellfire shot, and Cerberus shot. And then you also have, oh, it looks like I forgot to, he starts with a pistol. I don't have the pistols set out. Sorry about that. It's not crucial to see the pistol. But he can do pistol fanning and reload. Use 2 grit to refill D6 shots back into the 6-shooter. So you can spend grit to refill your special bullets. and quick draw. Quick draw is crazy. During the first turn of a fight, you are initiative 10 and may gain one shot with the gun. So yeah, you can pick things off before they even know what is happening. And then one final thing you're going to do when you pick your character is you're going to pick one special item. These are kind of like the heirlooms that are found in Darklight Memento Mori. These items here can never be lost, sold, traded, or anything. These are going to give your character a little bit of more of a personality, and this is what I usually, if I'm writing like a background for an RPG type session, I will usually use what I draw here as basis for my background. Now these are all the personal items from the Forbidden Fortress, so these are going to be more Eastern style. The ones from the other sets are a little more of a Western style. But you can have like a tattoo, a family crest, traditional face makeup, battle gloves, withered eye patch, ornate comb. So just all kinds of little items, and each one of them is going to give you a little something special to take into your character creation and to maybe give you some ideas of what kind of character you're playing. Like this lock of hair, maybe it was from a girlfriend or a wife or something like that, or a secret blade if you were part of some assassin group. Oh, it looks like I do have a few items here from the normal set. So a weathered hat, spectacles, and a cigarette. So always fun picking these and making a character based upon that background. All right, next we're just going to take a look at a couple enemies, one enemy from each set. Again, we will start with the Forbidden Fortress here, and we have the living statue. Pretty cool mini, nice and big. Here's the assassin, so you can get some scale there. So a lot of people complain about, not a lot of people, some people complain about Shadows of Brimstone not having that RPG book that is that makes Warhammer Quest so special. Well, one of the big things about the RPG book are all of the monster tables and all of the different abilities that all of the monsters have. So while Shadows of Brimstone doesn't have that RPG book, it still has all of these special abilities that the monsters have, but they are printed right on the card as abilities and as elite abilities. And each monster is also presented in a normal version and a brutal version. And once you start getting expansions, you will have a ton of monsters. I mean, my stack of monster cards is just huge. There might be as many unique monsters here as there are in Warhammer Quest. I haven't done a comparison, but there are a lot. So this is kind of like the big bad. This is kind of like the boss of the Forbidden Fortress set. He's pretty slow. He is large, so he can push things around. He has unspeakable terror. He can step over. He moves through other models and changes targets each turn. He can grab you. And he has a movement of 6. If you are next to him and you want to move, your pinning test, your escape test, as you have to roll 3 up. He hits with melee at a 5+, range at a 4+. He's going to roll 4 dice when he attacks you with melee. Each hit is going to do 5 damage. And he has a health of 30 plus 3 for each hero and a defense of 4. And then his elite chart, this is as your posse starts leveling up, as your heroes start leveling up, the monsters start getting these elite abilities. And you will start having to deal with a bunch of bonuses to keep track of. Like I've said before, I think Shadows of Brimstone is good up until about level 4. After that, it just gets, for me, too much bookkeeping. So I like to play up through like level 4 or so. All right, next up, we will look at the Swamps of Death, the Harbinger. This is one that I did dip, and I think this is one that turned out pretty good. I especially like the tops of the wings here and like the spinal column there. It kind of brings out the detail, and I wanted it to kind of look at that like sepia tone, kind of like the drawings in the adventure books for the games. And then here is its enemy card. It's initiative of 4. It is a demon. It is extra large. It too has unspeakable terror. It has a chart that it rolls on as a bringer of death, that it's going to do random things during the fight. It also moves through other models. It has flight. It's tough. It is immune to critical hits. That sucks. It has no ranged combat at all. It does hits on a 4-up. Rolls 3 dice. Each hit was going to do 4 damage. It moves 12. I mean, this thing moves all over the battle field. 14 health plus 3 per hero. And then the Harbinger gains 10 health for each elite ability it has. So as it starts leveling up, it gets pretty deadly. And then finally, we will take a look at the Goliath. So here's its mini. It is one of the dipped ones. This guy turned out okay too, I think. I like the suction cups on its tentacles there. I like that detail. Turned out okay. Again, pretty slow. It is extra large. Unspeakable Terror. Unspeakable Terror is a hero starting its activation next to it on the map. Takes 3 horror hits, so sanity damage basically. Flailing Tentacles. It's also tough, immune to critical hits. Has no ranged attack. Hits on a 3-up, moves 6. It's pretty slow. Rolls 3 combat die. Each hit does 3 damage. And then you have 18 health plus 4 per hero. So the bosses, their health does scale according to how many heroes are playing. And there is its elite chart. Now, some of the characters, actually a lot of the monsters in the original base sets were kind of boring. So what they've started to do is release as expansions these trait packs. These trait packs are going to add random abilities to some of the monsters. So in one pack, I think these all come in the same pack. The Forbidden Fortress expansion comes with 3 For the Living statue. So you can draw one of these to give your living statue, every time you fight them, a different set of abilities. One being a metal statue, a wooden statue, or a stone statue. So really cool way to add some variety to a single enemy. And then you can buy these, and they also have some of these for the regular enemies that come in the game, because a lot of them had really boring abilities. So this is just kind of a way to spice up some of the enemies from the original sets. And I do recommend getting them, especially if you find some of the original enemies boring and just not too exciting to fight. You can have the hulking alien form, unstoppable mass, plunging tentacle arms, feeds on memories, and from beyond the stars. So they're definitely going for a cosmic horror theme with the Goliath. And then here we have Bringer of Armageddon, Blasphemous Name, Lashing Tail, Blistering Touch, and Screeching Roar. Definitely going for a demonic theme there. So, all right, well, that was it. That was the last video for the core sets. Next time, I think we're going to take a little interlude or two to talk about some weird Western fiction. I'm going to give a 5 things I like, 5 things I dislike about Shadows of Brimstone. Stay tuned for the first of 3 Shadows of Brimstone giveaway packages. Not a package, but a giveaway contest that's going to be available to patrons. And yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying the Shadows of Brimstone series. And we will talk to you later. Bye-bye.